All right. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Mindgasms. So, I'm going to continue my series today that I'm doing on Jordan Peterson's newest books called Beyond Order. This is the sequel to his book called 12 Rules for Life, and I'm talking about Rule 2, which he is called Be the hero of your own. Well, that's basically the message of the rule, to be the hero of your own story. And then he gets into evangelizing about Jesus, because basically be the hero of your own story because the Bible says so, which is what annoys me about Jordan Peterson lately. Even though I don't throw out the baby with the bathwater, so to speak, and think he's worthless like some people do. I think he makes worthwhile contributions to society and helps a lot of people for sure. So anyway, the rule is, as you can see there on the screen, imagine who you could be and then aim single-mindedly at that. So this is basically, like I said, pursuing the idea of the hero's journey, right? And like I said, this is his newest book. I don't like it actually, sorry, rather, I don't like it as much as Maps of Meaning, which is his first book here. That's a good picture of it there. And I like this book a lot more because it kind of, as I've said before, it examines the common themes in different religions and examines does an examination of these different common themes between them and the integration of all of them, like the integration of masculine and feminine and chaos and order, and that they're both essential parts of the same thing. You can't have good without evil, and you can't have evil without good. You can't have masculine without feminine, or feminine without masculine. And so they're two aspects of the same whole. That's basically kind of like what I talked about with my last video on the Matrix that I made, which was about Spinoza's idea of his definition of God called monism, which is that there's only one substance in the universe, and that substance is God, and everything is God and everything is a crucial aspect of it because everything is part of God. And by God, he basically just means the universe, which is why people called him an atheist Christian. So basically, we're all essential aspects of the universe, and the only way you can achieve what you want to achieve is by integrating these things. So integrating the best aspects of good or chaos and order, good and evil, masculine and feminine. So check out that video on the Matrix, Spinoza, God, and monism that I made recently to watch more interesting information about that. I go through a bunch of examples of this of basically this religious symbology in the entire Matrix trilogy if you look at it as a whole. So anyway, this is Angry Jordan Peterson here. There are lots of pictures of him looking angry online because he's actually pretty calm most of the time, in my opinion. But people make lots of memes of him looking angry, as you'll see I did for the thumbnail for this video as well. Because someone someone recently, oh yeah, it was that Ta-Nehisi Coates, who's that famous anti-racist guy who like gets way too fucking carried away when he's talking about anti-racism and shit like that. He basically made Red Skull in the Captain America comics because he's writing the Captain America comics right now. He made Red Skull basically very similar to Jordan Peterson and made him say some of the similar things that Jordan Peterson said. So he basically directly compares Red Skull or Jordan Peterson to the Nazi supervillain Red Skull. So that's why, as you can see when you click on the video for the meme of this, it's a picture of Jordan Peterson's face on Red Skull, and it says, "I'm the Lobster King," because in one of the main criticisms that people have of his book called 12 Rules for Life is that that he uses lobsters and the fact that they have hierarchies as an argument to say that this is the way humans naturally are and this is the way we naturally should be. And then the thumbnail for this video, as you can see when you click on it, like I said, has the Jordan Peterson as Red Skull saying, "I am the Lobster King," and then it has Ta-Nehisi Coates saying, "No, you a Nazi," and then I have that cool Jesus there because, like I said, he does a lot of evangelizing about Jesus. So anyway, like I said, I'm talking about Jordan Peterson's newest book called Beyond Order, and like I said, I like this one a little bit more than the one that came before this, 12 Rules for Life. I liked a couple of the ones in that one, but most of them I didn't. And in this one, like I said, I liked Beyond Order much more. Well, I liked it more than 12 Rules for Life. Not much more, but I did like it more. I liked about half the rules or so in this. And then there are some, like the first rule, and like this one rule too, where I agree with the sentiment of the rule, but I'm just annoyed by where he goes with it. Like, I don't have, even though I'm an atheist, I don't have a problem with people being Christians if they want to, but I don't need to hear fucking Jordan Peterson evangelizing about Jesus all the time. I can understand and appreciate the sentiments of what he calls rules, because apparently he needs to be so fucking authoritarian. I can appreciate the sentiment of those without needing to be fucking evangelized to and preach to about Jesus. So, like I said, this is his second book technically. He wrote, like I said, he wrote Maps of Meaning, and then 12 Rules for Life, and then Beyond Order. And 12 Rules for Life is my least favorite book of his, partially because, like I said, unlike Maps of Meaning, he focuses much more on Christianity than any other religion, and stops like comparing the different psychological common themes and religions between different religions, and the integration of these two binary opposites like good and evil, chaos and order, masculine and feminine. And he just goes into like evangelizing about Jesus and making a few rules that I like, but a whole bunch that are really fucking dumb in my opinion too, and some that are obviously obvious too. Like one is stand up straight with their shoulders back. Yeah, that's good advice. It's also really obvious. And then one of them is oh yeah, one of them that I liked is don't bother children when they're skateboarding. But one of my least favorite ones in that one is don't make your oh yeah, don't allow your children to do things that you don't like them to do, or basically like things that you don't, or I think it's just don't let your children um do what you don't want them to do, which obviously is really fucking dumb. Because, and I know people get carried away with their criticisms of Jordan Peterson, but I think that's really fucking dumb because it's a recipe for fucking homophobia. Like um, if you're a parent and you have a child who is gay, and you're following this Jordan Peterson rule, uh, and you're homophobic, and you're following this Jordan Peterson rule saying that you shouldn't let your children do what you don't like them doing, then if you don't like your children going around and doing gay things, then that means you're going to like prevent them from being who they naturally fucking are, which is fucking stupid in my opinion. But anyway, like I said, for this rule, it's basically the idea of the hero's journey. So Joseph Campbell here is famous for the hero's journey, and it's the classic hero trope story, and he's one of the main people who talks about this idea a lot. And this is a great quote from him: "The cave you fear to enter holds the treasure you seek." So yeah, I love the idea of the hero's journey, and trying to improve yourself and set goals and move towards these goals, and then you can become a better person that way. You can be the hero of your own story, right? And so another famous person who Jordan Peterson talks about, of course, is Karl Jung, or Karl Jung. And he's of course the famous psychologist who does a lot of basically and Jordan Peterson is very open about this. He talks about um, Jungian ideas like these psychological tropes of the hero, the mother, the hero, the villain, the mother, the father, all those sorts of things, and these common tropes throughout various religions, and how they're very psychologically useful, and they can help you live a better life, which is what Carl Jung talked about a lot and what Jordan Peterson talks about a lot too, which I appreciate. But like I said, I liked it when he was much more like Carl Jung in his book Maps of Meaning and his earlier psychology lectures, when he examines the themes in lots of different religions and brings them together, rather than just like endlessly evangelizing about his very narrow view of Christianity and obsessing about specifically Christianity and the importance of order and responsibility and all this shit. Like, yeah, that shit's important, but he gets way too fucking carried away about it. So, like, I wish he still was more like Carl Jung than the way that it seems to me he has become now. And so I thought this was a good picture here of the hero's journey. So the hero is the chosen, basically like the chosen average Joe, or it can be female too, of course. They get chosen, they're a nobody, and they have to fulfill their destiny to be a hero who saves the world, or something similar to that, right? And this is like the same pattern of tons and tons of books and movies, right? So this is a cool diagram here. I don't know if you can see it that well, but it's basically a circle of the hero's journey. And there's the call to adventure, there's the confronting the supernatural, getting to different thresholds. I won't go through all of these. And then you have to confront and enter the abyss, and then you get atonement, then you go through a return, and then basically you become enlightened, or you gain your powers, depending on the movie or book that you're talking about. And just to go back, I like this idea of confronting the abyss. And I like this line by Nietzsche that Jordan Peterson quotes: "When you stare into the abyss stares back into you." That's so fucking profound, and I love it. But anyway, this is a good little diagram here of the hero's journey. So anyway, like I said, there are lots of different examples of the hero's journey, and some of the most famous movies and TV shows of all time fall into the category of a hero pursuing the hero's journey, right? Like, of course, one of the most well-known movies of all time is Star Wars, and a lot of people know that Luke Skywalker is pursuing the classic Joseph Campbell's, that's Karl Jung or Jungian hero's journey in the first Star Wars movie, and really all three of them pretty much. And then, of course, what I like much more than Star Wars personally, it's probably one of my favorite two movies, along with Pulp Fiction, is The Matrix. So similarly to Luke Skywalker in Star Wars, Neo in The Matrix, especially in the first one, not as much in the second one. Oh, I hadn't had that loaded, but this is a cool image of Neo in The Matrix Reloaded, stopping bullets with his mind just by putting up his hand, which is because he's become enlightened, because he becomes enlightened at the end of the first Matrix movie, right? So he's completed his hero's journey in that sense, because he flies like he's fucking Superman. And they even have that line in the second Matrix movie, Matrix Reloaded, where Link at one point near the beginning of the movie is saying he's doing his Superman thing again, and he's literally like flying through the air with one fist like Superman, right? So anyway, he goes through the hero's journey, and the classic hero's journey, like I said, especially in more so the first one than the other two, and they kind of like turn that on their head, and like I said, go more into the integration of good and evil. And in the Matrix movie, the integration of good and evil, robots and machines, and the unification of Neo and Smith, because this is the only way that peace can be achieved between humans and machines. So, but anyway, particularly in the first Matrix movie, like I said, Neo is pursuing the fucking textbook hero's journey. He is the chosen one. He's the one who's going to end the war between the humans and machines. It does happen, but it just goes very, very differently from the way anyone expects it to go, right? I mean, spoilers if you haven't seen all the Matrix movies, of course, but I just spoiled a whole bunch of shit anyway. But when he's still, well, I guess he defeats Smith, but he has to die in the process. And even that is kind of common in hero's journey stories. The hero dies at the end. That's maybe more of a Western thing, but it is kind of part of the hero's journey, depending on how you look at it. The hero achieves his goal and defeats the enemy, but has to die in order to do it. And that's what Neo has to do at the end of the Matrix Revolutions. So like I said, check that out. My video called Everything is One, The Matrix, Spinoza, and Monism. And that's his definition of God. But anyway, like I said, my main nitpick of this rule 2 in Beyond Order is, like I said, he's just fucking evangelizing about Christianity and his specific, narrow, classic, traditional, small c conservative view of Christianity, of responsibility and all this shit. Like I said, that's important, but he gets way too fucking obsessive about it. So this is obviously the most extreme example here of fundamentalist Christianity. The Westboro Baptist Church, of course, many people have heard of them. They're fucking wacky. They're a fucking wacky Christian cult, and they have all these terrible signs like "You're going to hell," "God is America's hell," "Thank God for dead soldiers." It was something about, I don't even remember what the reason for that shit was. It was something like how they thought all soldiers were gay, so they were like thanking God for killing fags in the war or something like that. And obviously that's really fucking stupid and terrible. But obviously Jordan Peterson, I'm sure, doesn't endorse anything anywhere near as crazy as that shit, contrary to the most extreme criticisms of him. But like I said, he just needs to fucking chill out about Jesus and admit that he's a Christian and loves Jesus and wants everyone to love Jesus. Because, you can see here, he thinks Jesus is pretty cool. Looks like a pretty kind of chill stoner Jesus there, right? And like I did in the thumbnail for my last video, there's a cool picture of Jesus drinking a beer, being chill with his sunglasses, smoking a nice joint. So yeah, I mean, I agree. Even though, like I said, I'm an atheist, I think Jesus is pretty cool and admirable character, definitely. And like I learned in mixed martial arts, the Bruce Lee rule, which is take what is useful, ignore what is not, and make it uniquely your own. So I like to follow some of the things that I like about Jesus, but very few of them, just the things that I like. And he's an inspirational figure. But yeah, to sum up, I would just say this book is worth reading. It's a little better than 12 Rules for Life, but it's not that great. And some of the rules are good, some of the rules are bad. More of the rules are good than those in 12 Rules for Life. And he has some cool rules that I appreciate the sentiment of, at least, like be the hero of your own story. But I just wish he would drop the fucking evangelizing about Jesus along with the process. He could just say the rule without having to go through all this shit. Or even going through and examining this theme in like movies or books or many different religions and looking at the psychology and shit like that. He barely does that in this book, which I think is fucking stupid. And, I criticize Jordan Peterson a lot because he doesn't seem to know a lot about psychology, but he doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about when it comes to philosophy, especially with this term postmodern neo-Marxism, which is a total bullshit term that means nothing. But anyway, I got nothing against the guy. I just got criticisms of his work. Check it out if you want to. I know he's a very polarizing figure. But anyway, yeah, hope you liked my video on Rule 2. I'll be doing videos on all 10 other rules in the book. Check out my video for Rule 1 that I did. And I'll add a link for that in the description of this video, along with the Matrix one. And I'll add that as my end tag here and whatnot. And check those out. So, like I always say, thanks for watching. Please subscribe to the channel. Click that like button. Share the video everywhere. Tell everyone about it. And especially thanks to those of you who give me money on Patreon, which I greatly fucking appreciate. And I'll add the link for that in the description of this video, as I always do in Mindgasms. And like I always say, I love you all. Keep being the tiny beam of light that shines through the almost impenetrable darkness of the universe. And most importantly, always remember this: the funk cures all. And groove is in the heart. And the hero's journey is pretty cool, but you don't need to evangelize about Jesus for it. Also, check out this weekend, this Sunday, Dusty, aka the Woke Centrist, and Chris James, who I talk with often. We're going to talk about aliens and UFOs, because, of course, there was that recent story at the New York Times about the Pentagon admitting that UFOs are real, and people are getting carried away with this shit, of course, and saying, that means aliens visited Earth and probed me, bro. Which doesn't necessarily mean that. It means no one really knows what they are. Maybe they're drones, maybe they're alien technology. That seems less likely than other countries producing it, but apparently that's very unlikely too. So it's a mystery. It's very interesting. It's a very historical event, really. Like, I'm not really big into UFOs. I'm extremely skeptical of all that shit, but it's a very interesting development. So yeah, anyway, check that out. And thanks again to everyone for watching, and adios until next time.